This late Victorian Queen Anne house on 309 North Rodney is one of the neighborhood's first dwellings that reflected Rodney Street's late 19th century prominency. 309 North Rodney was built in 1873 by Lorenzo Lyman. The home was a statement of Rodney's neighborhood being a popular area to build beautiful homes for early successful merchants and professionals. Lorenzo Lyman and his then first wife, Mary, first ventured to Montana by going to Alder Gulch during the gold rush of 1864. They homesteaded in the Gallatin Valley. There they had their first child in 1865, which is said to be the first white girl born in Gallatin County. Along the Gallatin River, Lyman had a wheat farm near a creek, which was later named after him. President Ulysses S. Grant appointed Lyman as the first land registrar for the land office in Helena, so Lorenzo moved his family to Helena. In Helena, he was not only a land register, but also practiced law, bought and sold real estate, and opened a partnership with W.W. DeLacy. They processed patent application, conducted surveys, and performed other land office business. Mary Lyman passed away in 1870, leaving Lorenzo with 2 young children. He remarried in 1871 to Frances Fannie A. Patterson, and a 3rd child was born in 1873. That is when the home on 309 North Rodney was built for the family. The Lyman family only lived in the home a few short years, as in 1875 they moved to California. Samuel Neal purchased the home on June 4, 1875 for $3,500. The sale included the home, the land, all the household furnishings, a buggy, chickens, a cow, and a fine Singer canary. Sam Neal was also a successful businessman in the wholesale grocery firm of Tutt and Donna, which was a large mercantile business that carried groceries, dry goods, liquors, wines, cigars, and agricultural equipment. Neal died unexpectedly at the age of 36. He left behind his wife, Lavinia, and 5 children. Lavinia and the children left for California after his passing, but she maintained ownership of the house for the next 20 years. She rented the house out as a single-family dwelling at first, but soon it was transformed into a boarding house. During the late 1890s, Rodney Street was becoming more of a neighborhood of mixed-use homes, as the West Side became the more fashionable place to live for successful businessmen. In 1898, one of the most interesting tenants lived in the home. Alice Palmer was an African-American woman who used the home as a boarding house exclusively for black boarders. She, her mother, and 5 children also resided in the home. Charles and Bertha Staborn purchased the home in 1901 from longtime absentee landlord Lavinia. Charles Staborn was a partner with John A. Sanders, a well-known Helena contractor. He also owned the 42-room Sunrise Terrace apartments on the corner of Davis and 6th Avenue. Charles, Bertha, and their 3 children resided in the home, but continued to use the remaining rooms, renting to boarders. The house was then sold to Leonard Skelton in 1922, and then to Edwin Clem in 1927. In 1930, the Honorable Sam and Mary Ford moved into the home. The Fords raised their 4 daughters in the home. Sam Ford served as Montana's Attorney General and then as a Supreme Court Justice. In 1940, he was elected as Montana's governor. During his 2 terms as governor, the family lived in the governor's mansion, but after his terms were up, they moved back into the home. In 1972, the home changed hands a number of times, serving different uses. It even served as a group home for troubled teens for a while. In 1982, Bill and Donna Wallace purchased the home and still currently reside there. The home has been registered as the Lyman Neal Residence under the National Register of Historic Places designation. It still has nearly the same footprint and has much of the original 19th century charm. The living room's large brick fireplace is still intact and is used to this day. Donna Wallace has the fireplace decorated with a display of family photos showcasing her own history of raising children and living life in the home.
And, it was just a miracle. I didn't have a dime to my name and certainly couldn't afford a house, but I always dreamed of a house. And my grandma gave me the down payment, and the rest is history. We bought the house in 1982. Up until that time, we'd been married 12 years. We moved a lot, never settled in one place. We had 3 children when we moved in here and then had one later, our little tag-along. And I worked at Human Resource Development Council, RMDC, and I could walk to work. The kids could walk to school, central school, then middle school.
Donna says she bought the home because she loved the location. Donna also utilized the home in a very interesting and different way, as she ran an adult daycare for the elderly with dementia.
A lot of varieties, and then here I come along and ran an adult daycare for elders with dementia, and did that for 16 years. So we got a little of everything. When I ran a business in this home with the adult daycare, I had business downtown, and I could just walk downtown. I could take some of my clients, and it was great for them to have this central location. Many of them needed a ride here. Dial-A-Ride would bring them, drop them off out front. So the central location was great. The neighbors, I didn't really know my neighbors that much. Apartment building, apartment building, apartment building, funeral home. But still, it had a nice feel. And it's always had a nice feel. Almost anyone that's ever visited us, whether it be friends or for business, said, gosh, this house feels good. So it's got that nice, comfortable feel, and that's a plus. I took my clients, here they were, all the way up to 90-some years old, but we walked a lot. We could go to the governor's mansion, up to the Myrnaloy, walk around the block, catch the bus and go downtown, come back. And they were so comfortable here, and that just touched my heart that they were so comfortable. And someone said, well, they must love your house. It has so many antiques in it and whatnot. And I said, they never say a word about the antiques. But what they do say is it feels just like home. And I guess that's what matters to me. I was raised by my grandmother. I think home is really important for all of us. Thank goodness some of us have a home. And it's comfortable, and we can have our family there. So probably just those home activities, Thanksgivings and Christmases and birthdays and all of that. It's been a great home for that.
Donna says the house at 309 North Rodney has always been a comfortable place to make a home, a place to raise a family in. Her slogan for her adult daycare and her home is, "The essential spiritual grace our homes should possess is the solace of comfort." And that is just what 309 North Rodney gave her and her family, and still lives on within the house's walls today, just as it did for many of the past.